Okay, now it's live. Oh boy. We'll go ahead and give it a few seconds for people to get in here. And I, of course, will be getting the link for the Discord, folks, which will take just a second here. Oops, I clicked the wrong button. It's cool, it's cool.
Stop.
I don't even have my audio on. That's awesome. Okay. Let me go ahead and post this for the Discord people. And there it is. All right, so we can close Discord, and you guys should be pouring in any time. All right. Cool. So, here is what we are doing today. We are going to be using the YouTube Live feature to determine the best Fallout game. Now, just about anybody could use opinions or reasoning to determine the best Fallout, but we're going to be using science, by which I mean we're going to let chat decide. That way you can't get angry at me based on the result. So we'll be doing a pretty standard tier list. You know, you've seen these. If you've been on YouTube, you know what this is, except you guys are going to be deciding each of the placements of each of the Fallout games. I'll be using the live poll feature on YouTube, which, apologies ahead of time, I have not used. So we're going to be learning that together. But yeah, we'll give it a couple minutes for people to get in here. But the way that it's going to work is, like I said, we're going to vote. Very fun. And we'll give about 5 minutes or so for each game for deliberations. You guys, as you can see, the chat is live. You can tell me your reasonings as to why you think each game deserves to be the best. And then we'll factor that in. But really, it's going to come down to the vote. Though, I could possibly be swayed to adjust things if necessary. We've got every single release of Fallout ever here. You can't see it on screen at the moment, but they'll pop up one at a time. We'll start with some of the lesser known and lesser played titles, and we'll move our way up to the heavy hitters as we decide the ultimate Fallout. So yeah, give it another couple minutes for people to get in here, and we'll go ahead and get started. In the meantime, here's the poll feature. So there is a problem, a small problem. The poll feature on YouTube Live only allows for 4 options, and as you can see, we have 6 options with the S, A, B, C, D, and F tier. So I'm going to need you guys to help me narrow it down to a 4 range gap. So let's say that the selection is Fallout 4. You decide in the comments here, and we'll elaborate together, decide where this goes, and then we'll do the final poll. So let's say you narrow Fallout 4 to be pretty middle of the road. It's A through D. The poll will go up with the placements of A through D, and then you guys will vote. And it will be you that decides the final placement for each of these games. So, this is going to be fun. I suppose we should go ahead and get started with the first title. And that's going to be Fallout 1. So, I have a feeling that a lot of my viewers, people who are here for Fallout 4 content, may not have played Fallout 1, but it is a classic, started the franchise, gave us most of the lore that we know and love, or don't love. It's really up to you, I suppose. So, for now, let's go ahead and talk. Let's discuss things. Let's look at what everybody's saying. What do you think about Fallout 1? I do find it very funny, by the way. I did a YouTube post right before we started this. I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds for the chat to catch up. Everybody just immediately started commenting their favorite. Paid zero attention to the title, the thumbnail, any of what we were doing. Just immediately went to the chat and started saying, this is my favorite, this is my favorite. And matter of fact, some of you people are doing it as we speak. All right, right off the bat, we're getting people talking about Fallout 1. Good. Big Suck says that the Fallout 1 is a total A because 2 is Ultra S. That's one opinion, I suppose. Somebody's talking about Fallout 4, even though we're not there yet. But all right, let's keep a one-track mind here. What are we thinking about Fallout 1? We need to narrow it down to 4 because, as far as I'm aware, this poll only allows a total of 4 answers. Somebody says Fallout 1 is janky and outdated in most parts. It's obvious because it was quite low budget and hasn't been touched upon since its release. Well, yeah, I mean, age has a lot to do with it. Ignore my camera flickering, by the way. Uh, age is gonna make Fallout 1 a bit different from what we're used to. That's for sure. But it's a different kind of game from a different kind of time. I definitely, personally, don't think it belongs in F, nor do I think it belongs in D. I don't think any beginning of a franchise could score so low, because how could it become a successful franchise unless the first one was at least decent? So, with that, I think I'm going to narrow out D and F. I think at worst, Fallout 1 is mid-tier, but you guys tell me. I'm going to go ahead and post the poll in the chat, and you're going to tell me where you think it belongs. S through D. S through C, excuse me. That way it does have the potential to score pretty high, but really, it's dependent completely on you guys. So, posting the poll in the chat, it is going up right now. And you guys do your voting there. There it is. And you can click on which one you agree with the most. Give that a couple minutes to tally up the scores there, and then we'll place it accordingly. I'm very curious to see how this works. So actually, the poll feature's pretty nice. Look at that. It went straight in. That's awesome. I might use that in future modding streams. God, I wish I knew why my camera was flickering so much. All right. Yeah, so for those of you who are just joining, you're voting via the poll. You can give me your reasonings here in the comments, but voting in the comments isn't going to do you a whole lot. Though, if you want to just tell me which one you voted for, I suppose that's fine as well. Yeah, we have a lot of Fallouts to get through here, so it looks like the B option is absolutely running away with it. So, I think that's going to be it. Fallout 1, according to the fans, according to science, without my biased opinion involved, settles in a B tier. And I think that's alright. I can live with that. I'm not opposed to that. As long as you don't put 76 in F, S, we'll be okay. Moving on in the order of release, we have Fallout 2. Now, not gonna lie, never played Fallout 2, so I don't have much to offer in the way of anything for this. But those of you who have played through all of the classic Fallouts and know the stark nuances between Fallout 2 and Fallout 1, you can tell me absolutely which one is better, which one is worse. I'll use your chat right now to determine the 4 possible placements of Fallout 2. Somebody asked right now, are we doing Fallout Shelter or any other spin-off games? Oh, absolutely we are. We are doing the spin-offs, and there's a lot of them. We're going to have a lot of fun. So far, people are saying the Fallout 2 is somewhere between B and S tier. Can't really put Fallout 2 and 1 in the same tier. It's interesting. Somebody says B or C. Who doesn't put it to S? Okay, so it sounds like we have another S through D or S through C category. Nobody has said anything less than C thus far. So it sounds like we're going to have a very similar poll. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys vote B again, but that's just me. Also, apologies for no music like my normal streams. It'll be added in post because this will be turned into a video, which, by the way, you might be featured in a video if you're commenting right now. So, very cool stuff. Now then, Fallout 2. Let's go ahead and put up the poll. I'm very curious to see what happens here. I'm sure a lot of you are being silent viewers who will just vote with your vote rather than in the comments, but we shall see. Here goes the vote for Fallout 2. Is it going to be S, A, B, or C? You tell me. The poll is up. We will see what you guys say very, very soon. Also, those of you who are quoting Fallout, my bot really hates caps, so I'm sorry. Pope Riflery, you're joining right now. I'm not putting it in C. You guys are voting. I have nothing to do with this. You can't blame me for any placement here. This is you guys. You're doing this. So, you know. All right, let's see what people are saying so far. So far, everybody is saying A. People think that Fallout 2 is better than Fallout 1. See, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a B or C from you guys. All right. Somebody said, obviously, Fallout 3 is the best because it has aliens. Have you played, like, any of the other ones? Like, in any of them? All right. It looks like it's a pretty resounding A, according to the results so far. I don't think it's getting anywhere else. Pig, I'm sorry, you just don't get to choose. We're using science here. Opinions are thrown out the window. We're using hardcore facts to determine the best Fallout. We're going to go ahead and end it there. It's an A. You guys have voted. It's been decided. It's too late. Fallout 2 shoots up to A tier. Above Fallout 1. You know, often in most franchises, the sequel is better. You got Terminator 2. You got Halo 2. Other examples. I don't think Ghostbusters 2 was better. Was Ghostbusters 2 better? I don't remember. Anyways, we're on to the next game. Now, this next one holds a special place in a lot of your hearts. I know, because I only hear about it all the time in the comments. I myself, while have not played it personally, am pretty well versed in its lore and its status in the canon. And that, of course, is Fallout Tactics. Everybody's beloved black sheep of the Fallout franchise. Not exactly canon, though it does have a lot of lore to contribute to the Fallout franchise. You guys tell me where Fallout Tactics belongs on this list. Now, if it was up to me, which it's not, because again, we're using science here, it would score a bit low for the fact that it's not even a canon game, and so a lot of what it says is just kind of out the window. But it's not exactly that everything in the game is decanonized either. In terms of gameplay, you know, it's just like the other ones. But you keep spamming. I'm just gonna boot you from the chat there, but so far people are saying S through S. I have a couple of people saying F. Okay, I have a handful of people saying F for Fallout Tactics. People saying C through D. One person saying S, and it's Pig, so I don't know how much weight that holds. But it looks like we're going to have a bit of a lower vote. I see a couple of S's and a handful of F's. Actually, I'm seeing a lot of F's. Ooh, it's not looking good for Fallout Tactics. B's and C's, only a couple of A's. Oh, man. So everybody, so far, the biggest consensus seems to be middle of the road. And so rather than giving in to the S or F tiers, I do personally believe that we give it an A through D ranking. It only seems fair. If the majority of people choose A or D, I will open it up to a second vote to further it down between a D and F or an A and S. But it totally depends on the result of this first vote. We're going to throw it up now. This is going to be for Fallout Tactics. Keep your eye on the chat if you want to participate in the poll. I am loading it up as we speak. We have, so far, A through B, C, and D. You guys tell me, where does Fallout Tactics belong on this list? So far, we've got Fallout 2 in A tier, Fallout 1 in B tier. Man, people hate this game. What is it about the game? I see a lot of votes, but I don't see a lot of reasoning. Why do people hate Fallout Tactics so much? I mean, I got to assume it's valid because of the fact that Pig thinks it's the best game in the franchise. So if Pig thinks it's the best game in the franchise, I can only assume that everybody who says it's the worst probably has some merit. Though that being said, it is an absolute tie right now between C and D. Oh, D is now taking the lead. Oh boy. We got 40% of you saying that it belongs in D tier. And if an overwhelming majority puts it in D, I think that we're going to open it up to a second poll to differ between D and F, since we only have 4 selections here for the YouTube poll. I would love to have had all 6 options, but you know. It's pretty close. It is pretty close between C and D. I think D might be a pretty accurate representation, but how many of those people are wanting to put F, but are just settling for D? If that's the case, then actually the majority here would be C. But there's really no way to know unless we put it out to another poll. D is definitely taking it. I am going to open this up to a second poll because it is it's hard. It's just too hard to tell. It's too hard to tell. Let's open it up one more time. One more poll here. We're going to give you another Fallout Tactics. Narrow it down for me. D and F for its final placement. Yes, I know I spelled it wrong. You'll live. D or F? You know, I should have put S on there. That would have been funny. Everybody's upset. No. No, they're so upset. Okay, it looks like D was actually the accurate representation. We have an overwhelming majority thus far in D with a lot of votes. Man, you guys are voting on there really quick. Props to you guys. 69% in D. The holiest of numbers. I think that takes it. I think that D is the final placement for Fallout Tactics here. I'm going to give it a couple more seconds, but I don't think there's any way. With 67 votes and 100 of you watching, I do think it is pretty much settled at a final poll of 69%. Fallout Tactics sits in D tier. Now, the next one, I know very little about, and I'm sorry to say that. We're doing the oldies. You guys know I'm primarily a Fallout 4 content creator. I got my start in New Vegas and then backtracked into the older games. But, not once have I tried Brotherhood of Steel. I know there's a select few people who really enjoy this game, but I don't know that many people who've even played it. So, what are we thinking? What are we thinking about Fallout Brotherhood of Steel? The least appealing of the title covers. Every single Fallout has had some sort of power armor on the front, and they look like a fun game to play. Brotherhood of Steel, despite being called Brotherhood of Steel, does not feature power armor in the title. It has 2 strange characters. I have seen some gameplay of this, and oh my dear lord, the amount of people saying F. I only see Fs in chat, and not in the good way. Oh man. Yeah, wow. This, I don't even think we have to do a vote. One question, everybody. Is everything okay? I just got a notification from the stream that the audio is cutting out. Let me know if everything sounds fine, please, and thank you. Just gonna give that a couple seconds for everything to catch up. All right. Stream is fine. Stream is fine. You're good. Okay, then YouTube is lying to me. That's fine. We'll get back to it. Alrighty. Overwhelming Fs. I have only seen 2 things appear in the chat, and it's just like I mentioned earlier. Resounding Fs and a couple of S's. So, I'm only going to make those the only 2 options. Fallout, Brotherhood of Steel. Is it S tier or is it F tier? You tell me. I see a couple of you voting for S's. But, I don't know. There's a lot of F's in chat. A lot of F's in chat, and I don't think they mean to pay respects to this game. Right off the bat, with 37 votes, an overwhelming 84% F tier. You guys hate this game. I think it deserves a full playthrough on the channel. That could be a fun one. It is the game ever made. I agree. By the sounds of it. All of you people saying S right now, I sympathize for you. Your votes just aren't saying what you're saying. With 81 votes at 80% F, I think we just have to call it our first F tier of the day. I can't believe it. I figured the first F tier would be a little bit later on with some of our future choices here. But Brotherhood of Steel immediately into the garbage. We're going to go ahead and end that poll. Final vote, 79% F. Who would have thought it? 80% F. Wow. Somebody said biased poll. I mean, yeah, we narrowed it down to S and F, but to be fair, those were the only options that you guys were giving me. Nobody said A, nobody said B, not a single person said C or D. I only saw S's and F's in the chat, thus the poll was created. Again, pure science on this vote here. We will absolutely not be using any bias, any opinions, just the hardcore facts, people. All right. Now then, we're coming out swinging. One of the best Fallout games, in my opinion. This one revolutionized the franchise, added so many brand new gameplay features that we had not seen thus before in a Fallout game. As a matter of fact, this one's available on more platforms than any other Fallout. Truly a pinnacle of the Fallout franchise. Fallout Shelter, people. Where are we putting it? I know my vote, but that's not allowed here. You guys tell me. Where is Fallout Shelter going? Give a chat a second. Somebody said, why are none of the images here the same size? Because these all came out at very different times when cover art was at very different sizes. Some of these were exclusive to PC, some of them are apps, some of them are console games, so they all are different sizes. All right, the votes are coming in for Fallout Shelter, and we are all over the board here with F, S, D, A, D, F, C, B. We have every vote on the board. Wow. This is absolutely insane. Lots of S's, to be fair. Top tier. Wow. It says D because they hate mobile games. Well, guess what? It's available on PC, Xbox, PlayStation. You can play Fallout Shelter anywhere. Matter of fact, playing it on PC is one of the best experiences because you don't have to deal with the lag of the nonsense. It's actually quite a lot of fun. If you're looking to pass some time, make a vault, if you're into that sort of thing. We are spread all over the board here. Lots of people saying actually a good game. Wow. This is everywhere. This is everywhere. And sadly, because we cannot put all 6 options on the board, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to throw A through D on the board. I see a lot of you saying S. I also see a handful of you saying F. If either direction gets a resounding amount of votes, we'll put it up to a second vote. Okay, so if you truly think it belongs in S tier, vote A. If you truly think it belongs in F, vote D. And then we will put it up to another vote if either one has a huge amount of votes to see if it deserves S or F. My guess is because of how split you guys are that it probably will end up in the A or D section, but we shall see. We shall see. We're too middle of the road right now. It's just too hard to tell. It's too hard to tell. So I'm going to throw up the poll. Check out your chat so you can vote. Fallout Shelter, the best game of the franchise. Where does it belong? We're going to run A through D first and see if it needs to be narrowed down. What do you guys think? What are we thinking? What are we voting for? Somebody just joined. We're voting for Fallout Shelter. If you're just joining, we are using science to determine the best Fallout games. We've already done Fallout 1, 2, Tactics, and Brotherhood of Steel. And right now we're voting on Fallout Shelter. And you tell me where you think it belongs. And it looks like we won't even need to narrow it down to another vote, because the silent majority has spoken in tier C, but tier A is creeping up. Now, realistically, A is probably a split vote between people who are actually voting A and people who are voting S. So if we were to split that vote, C definitely has the majority here. Really interesting that D is a surprisingly low vote despite the amount of people saying F. Wow. If you just joined, vote A. We need it in S. Right now, the majority is in C. So I don't even think it's going to come to a secondary vote. Don't get me wrong, it is close between C and A currently, but A is a split vote. You got to remember that people who want S are also voting for A, since YouTube only allows for 4 options in the poll. Wowzers. I think that's it. With 131 of you watching and 112 votes, we still have a couple of votes on the table, but C is taking away with an even further lead. So I think that we are going to have to call it there. Fallout Shelter with a tier C placement. Which, quite frankly, I think is a good spot for it. It is very middle of the road. It's not for everybody. If you're a classic Fallout fan, you may not enjoy Fallout Shelter. Not to mention, we don't yet have a C option. So there you go. Now then, we need to move on to a couple more spin-offs before we get to the heavy hitters. I know that what you guys are here for, the ones you want to see, the ones you're really dying to vote for, are your Fallout 3, your Fallout New Vegas, your Fallout 4, and of course your Fallout 76. But we have a couple of spin-offs to get through first, so we can establish a good, strong baseline before we vote for those very, very important games. So, up next, I have a feeling that this one's not going to do well, and I'm sad to say it. We have Wasteland Warfare. Fallout Wasteland Warfare is the tabletop conversion of Fallout. Now, I'll speak to this for just a second. As a huge tabletop fan and enjoyer and enthusiast, I love me some tabletop games. And having a Fallout variant of tabletop is amazing. However, it's really expensive. The figures are okay. And the rule set is a bit meh. So, say with that what you will. My guess, though, is the way the votes are going to be determined here is that the majority of you don't play tabletop. Rivalry says, you're telling me there are more spin-offs? Rivalry, there's more spin-offs than you could imagine. And by which I mean there's only a couple more. But they're here because they are Fallout games. Somebody said this is a Fallout game. Yes, it is. But it's very expensive to get into. It costs way more than any other possible Fallout game, and it is far less fun than any Fallout game. As much as I love tabletop games, even I would put this one a bit low on this list. But it's not up to me. It's up to you guys. Weirdly enough, I'm seeing a lot of S's. Why are there so many S's? Do you guys actually enjoy this game? Okay, more votes are coming in. I see C's, I see D's, and I see B's. I see a handful of F's as well. Somebody says cash grab. I agree. I think the figures are overpriced. As a 3D printer, I think these are a bit overpriced. I bought some of the Skyrim figures myself, because they do have a Skyrim version of this tabletop game as well. And it's not great. You know, you can catch a couple deals on Amazon, but it's not great. As for the gameplay, I can't speak to it. All my figures I use in D&D format, so I cannot speak to the actual quality of the gameplay. So then, I see votes across the board. Most of them are A through D, and I think that is where we're going to put it. I'm going to go ahead and throw the poll up with an A through D, but if D is overwhelming, if D is a huge number, we'll open it up to a possible F vote. But my guess is that it's not going to do well. Raffery says, I'm genuinely surprised that you didn't like it, Dak. It adopted a lot of its rules from D&D. I've made my own Fallout D&D rule set, so mine better. All right. Somebody said exclamation points. All right. Whatever you say. I think we're going to open it up to an A through D vote. And again, if D is overwhelming, we'll open it up to F, though I don't think it's going to be like that. If A is overwhelming as well, we'll open it up to an S vote, though I don't think that's going to happen. So, throwing it up in the vote. Going to add some options here. A through D. I will narrow it down further if necessary. Somebody, completely nothing to do with what we're talking about, says Fallout 4 sucks. Have you been to my channel? You know what we do here? Oh no. There is a huge number of D votes. Enough to make an F vote possible. More votes are coming in than that is starting to differ. Now we see a lot of C's, handful of A's. Still, majority is in the D. But I don't know if it's enough to be an F tier. Right now, if you're just tuning in, we are voting on Wasteland Warfare, the tabletop variant. We've already done a lot of the earlier games as well as some of the spin-offs. Somebody asked if we can get a Fallout tabletop series. That's a lot of setup that I just don't have the space for, sadly. The amount of cameras and space and people you need for a tabletop series is very, very difficult. Very difficult. Believe me, I thought about it, but I don't think it's possible. Now then. It doesn't look like it's going to go to F. Pig offered the idea of narrowing it down between C, D, and F. I actually do like this idea. C, D, and F. There are practically no B votes and only a handful of A's. I think Pig is onto something. We don't have to narrow it down to just 2 votes. We could narrow it down to the latter half of the board, actually. We can open it up again. So let's do just that, Pig. I think you're onto something here. We're going to open up another vote right now. And we'll have all 4 options. We'll do B through F. That way, those of you who voted A can still vote V to keep it higher on the board. So, B through F. What do you guys think about Fallout Wasteland Warfare, the tabletop game? We'll just have to see. I don't think this is going to go well. I think that it has a strong chance of being an F tier. Realistically, I think it's going to land itself in D, along with Fallout Tactics. But only time will tell. Oh my lord. Right off the bat, we have a really strong presence in the F tier. All of you A voters seem to have changed your mind. I can't believe it. I absolutely can't believe it. Now D is in the lead. Okay, more votes are coming in. 69 votes. We have 33% in D tier. This is absolutely insane. You know, the absolute travesty of this, I don't even get to vote. I don't even get to participate in the poll. I don't get to put my 2 cents anywhere here. Sadly. This is all you guys. All science. All facts. Maybe one day we'll have a tie. And if that's the case, if we ever get a tie, same percentage, neck and neck, I could be the tiebreaker. That could be a lot of fun. I could make a lot of people angry. All right. This is pretty split, guys. This is very, very split between D and F here. C has a good bit of traction. B, not so much. Oh, wow. As the votes keep coming in, we are now tied between D and F. Whoa, you guys really, really don't like tabletop. Oh, man. This is crazy. All right, I think D is taking the lead here. We do have a significant amount of viewers who have yet to vote. We'll give it a little bit of time. YouTube takes its time to get these votes in. Right now, though, D is in a slight lead. Only slightly. So many of you want to throw this game into the garbage pail of F tier and put it alongside the likes of Brotherhood of Steel. Now, you tell me. You tell me when you cast your votes. Those of you who haven't cast your vote yet. Do you think you would have less fun playing Wasteland Warfare or Brotherhood of Steel? Would you have more fun playing a tabletop game than Brotherhood of Steel, one of the worst Fallout games as voted for by science? Use that to determine your last vote. though we are going to call it pretty close here. Somebody said do A, C, D, and F. If there were A voters, they would have voted for B, and they did not. So I'm afraid we're gonna have to call it here. It looks like we are at peak voters. It seems that people are pretty much made up their mind. Now we have a problem. Never mind, we do not. It was tied. It was tied, but the last couple of votes came in. 33% in D tier. This is crazy. It's really close. It truly is. I would almost want to push this until every single person voted, though some of you, I'm sure, are just watching for the fun of it. I think we're just going to have to call it there. I think it is truly a D tier game, though. Maybe we can cut a compromise. I think it is possible that you could throw it here. This is just a thought. We can sit on this. We'll see what you guys think. Most of you voted D in the D-F split, but only by a 2% margin. It's very close. Very, very close. I think, personally, the cash grab that it is, the divergence from the Fallout format that it is, maybe a spot between D and F is fair. Tell me what you guys think. Yes or no on the D and F split. I'd be happy to put it in D, which is where it went. It's what got voted for fairly. But I could put it down here if we think that's necessary. People are saying no, it's D. No, it's D. D. Somebody said I really want to try it. Is it that bad? Okay, like jokes aside, because this is a bit of a goof stream. Jokes aside, I'm pretty sure that most of these people just don't like tabletop. So it's a Fallout channel. It's about video games. Not everybody here is going to be a tabletop player. I think tabletop people are really going to like it because everybody here likes Fallout, right? So now you just throw in, are you a tabletop person or not? Tabletop people are going to put it in S. Not tabletop are going to put it in F. People with brains will put it somewhere in between. Oh, man. I think it's D. I think D is fair. It's what most people seem to be saying. D seems like the vote. All right. We've already gone through 2 polls. We don't need to put it to a third. I think it's going to sit nicely in D. If we get to the end of this stream and we've voted for everything and you think things need to be shifted, we could talk about it then. But for right now, I think it does sit in D. Now then, we do have one more spinoff we need to talk about. Better than Fallout Shelter. Better than Fallout Tactics. It's truly possibly one of the best Fallout spinoffs that has ever come out, and quite an underground one. Now, I know not everybody knew about Fallout Shelter. There's a couple of you who are sitting under a rock, never knew about it, and then a good handful of you I saw didn't know about Wasteland Warfare, but this one, what can you tell me about Fallout Pinball? What can you tell me about Fallout Pinball? Think about that classic PC pinball game that came with every old version of Microsoft, with Windows, and then just put Fallout on it. Did you ever want to let a pinball loose through Diamond City? You ever want to let a pinball loose through Fallout? You ever want a pinball? Here we go. The votes are coming in. S++, S, 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 A, S, A, S, S, A, S, 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 S. Everybody saying S, 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 triple S, 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 S. Fallout Pinball added so much lore. S, S, A, S, 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 S. You guys are incredible. Oh my dear Lord, this might be our first S tier of the night, the noon, the midday, depending on where you're at. I see S tiers across the board. Pin me, daddy. S tier. Literally pinball. S tier. S tier doesn't do it justice. Triple S. S++. I mean, what can you say about Fallout Pinball? It's S tier. Where do I download this? S tier. I actually don't know. Hold on. Let me Google that. I have no idea where to get this. Where do you download Fallout Pinball? Fallout Pinball was one of 3 pinball tables in the Pinball Mini Table Pack, released in 2016, available for Zen Pinball 2, Pinball FX2. It's an add-on. It's a DLC for a pinball game. I did not know that. The S's are having it. You guys are saying it, but we can't let our opinions factor into this equation. We do need to use science to determine the placement, the proper placement, the real factual placement of Fallout Pinball. So we are going to open it up to a poll. However, that poll is going to be S through C, because so many of you love this game so much. So, opening up the poll to the chat. Where are we placing Fallout Pinball? I know my vote, and I know many of yours, but you still gotta vote. Here goes the poll. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens with the pinball edition of Fallout. I want to look up more pictures of this game. Is this actually fun? Like, is this actually a good game? I mean, like, you have to like the pinball games, right? But, like, this looks like garbage. They have a Skyrim one. They have a Doom one. Whoa! They're all the exact same board, but with different backgrounds. That's legendary. You keep in mind, Fallout Pinball Pack comes with Skyrim and Doom. We have a 63% vote on Fallout Pinball. 64% vote on Fallout Pinball being in the S tier. 6% in A, 6% in B, 23% in C, and now S is back up to 65%. Pinball stream when? You know what? At some point. At some point. We'll do a pinball stream. Maybe. Somebody said, I love democracy. Yes. Somebody said, please give 76B tier. I can't give any tiers. If you're just joining in, guys, we're using science. We're using science. The chat gets to decide the placement of each of these games, and boy, have you decided. Pinball gets an overwhelming S tier vote. S tier pinball, Fallout, dear Lord, pinball. With 65% as the final vote, our first S tier of the day, Fallout Pinball. Absolutely incredible. This is amazing. This is truly amazing. I love seeing democracy at work. Truly a flawless system. Ladies and gents, we've got 4 tiers left. And this is where things are going to start getting spicy. It's been fun. It's been nice. We've had some good laughs, some good ha-has. We've had excellent, amazing things, like the Fallout Pinball reaching F tier. We've had travesties like Warfare, Wasteland Warfare, getting the D tier. Getting the D. But now it is time to break some hearts, to get angry, to get spicy. Now, please, just do me this one justice. Keep your emotions at bay and use your vote to decide. We don't need to get angry. Let's keep the chat nice and civil, nice and peaceful, calm. Let's use reasoning and facts and let our opinions stay to the side, because we need to talk about Fallout 76. Folks, one of the most polarizing games in the Fallout franchise. I know right off the bat I'm going to see lots of S's and lots of F's. Somebody just said no. Sadly, this game has a lot of conflict, a lot of controversy, and a lot of history. At launch, and I did play this game at launch, oh, it was miserable. Now it's a fully functional game. However, it does have a lot of the travesties that accompany free-to-play titles. So, it really depends. This thing had a lot of potential. We talk about the history of 76. It had so much potential. The first multiplayer Fallout game. It could have been greatness. But instead, even those of you who do truly believe that Fallout 76 lives in the S tier, you know the drama that this game has caused. You know the divergence it has created in the community. You all know what this game is and what it has become. And even though it has had one of the longest life cycles of any Fallout game given to it by Bethesda, again, Fallout 4 has an amazing life cycle, but that is driven by the modding community. This is one of the longest backed games by the company that made it. But it's all microtransactions. DLCs with not a whole lot of content. It's Destiny with a Fallout skin. You all know it. So we need to go ahead and put it to a vote. Strangely enough, I'm seeing a handful of S's, a handful of F's, but I'm seeing a lot of middle of the road votes. Not as bad as I thought it would be. I think we're going to start by opening this up to an A through D tier. If we're giving this fairness with a big split between S and F votes, I think A through D tier is fair to start with. And then if either side has an overwhelming majority, we will put it to an extra vote. So with that, let us begin. I'm going to open up the poll for Fallout 76. And we're going to run it A through D. For fairness' sake and fairness alone. Oh boy. What are we going to say, folks? A through D tier up in the chat. Go ahead and go vote for it now. Where does Fallout 76 belong on this list? If you're just now joining and you haven't gotten to vote on the rest of these, you can make your vote count now. Where does 76 belong? Oh dear God, it is in the D tier. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Somebody says, Dax, to clarify, is this before or after updates? All of these votes are for the full packages. Keep in mind the DLCs, the updates, the quality of life fixes, the games in their current states. How are they now? How is it? Right now, we are sitting at a 44% in the D tier, a 40% in the C, only a 5% in A tier. So those of you who did say S in chat, you truly were the only ones thinking it. We may have to pull this to a lower half vote, a B through F. I think it's going to be necessary. There's just too many people in D. I think a lot of you want to say F. I think we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to do it. I was worried it would come to this. I know I do have a lot of Fallout 76 sympathizers in my Discord, and they're going to have a big talk with me after the stream. I know. But sadly, we can't let our opinions get involved. We have science here. The science is telling us with a 45% vote in D and a C of 38%, we need to put it to a further vote. We're going to end the poll there. We're going to break it down further. We need some more deliberation. We need to do another vote. I'm going to throw it up right now. Fallout 76 final vote. Where does it go on this list? We have B through F. You guys tell me. Do we want this game to be in the F tier along the likes of Brotherhood of Steel? Is it really that bad? Do you think in your heart of hearts, does 76 truly belong in the F tier with something like Fallout Brotherhood of Steel? Or does it belong in the D tier with Fallout Tactics and Fallout Wasteland Warfare? I know my pick, but you tell me. You tell me, folks, where does this game belong? Somebody said, what is that on S? Those of you who just joined, if you're looking at S tier, that is the most beloved game of our stream thus far. Fallout Pinball. Fallout Pinball, the pinnacle, the savior of the Fallout franchise. The only reason my channel exists to this day. Fallout Pinball. The votes are coming in for Fallout 76. It would appear that many of you had shifts in judgment. Perhaps my logic has swayed you Think about where this game belongs. Where does it truly belong? Currently, we have a very, very close race between C and F. We have not seen a split quite like this. We have 30%, 34% in C, and 31% in F, and 22% in D. Folks, this is a crazy split now. If either of these wins, C or F, I don't know that it could quite possibly be placed there. Because surely we would have to meet in the middle in D. Because that's where the votes are at, C and F. Although C is starting to run away with it. The C votes are coming in with a 35%, 31 in F, and 22 in D. This is truly a close race, one of the closer races we've had. Not the closest, but it's up there. The closest one being, of course, Wasteland Warfare, which tore the hearts of many Fallout fans. Oh my lord. 34% in C, 32% in F. What do you think, guys? How do we do this as a democracy using facts? Do we give the vote to C? Or do we split the difference and put it in D? What are you thinking, people? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? I definitely did not see this coming. The C vote, taking it away with 34%. Somebody says F in principle, but C and D in truth. And you see, that's what I think. I think a lot of people are voting with their hearts right now and not with their minds. I think we're letting our opinions sway the facts. I think we're letting the science get away from our scientifically driven tier list here. Somebody says do a vote between C and F only. It is possible. I do have a feeling that if I do a vote between C and F, that the C is going to take it. But if that's truly what you guys think, we could do it. We could do a C and F split vote. But I don't know if that's the right call. I don't know. We could split it in D. But at 35% with C, we have to make a decision. We truly must. With so many votes in F, it doesn't feel right to just give it straight to C. I think we need to put it to another vote, people. This is one of the important ones. This is one of the big games. The top 4 games on our list here. We do need to take some true time to deliberate this. We need to think about it. We need to use our hearts and our minds. Everybody seems to want a C and F split vote. So that's what we're going to do. Just know this, people. It may end up in the C tier. We're going to do it. We're going to do the CF split. It breaks my heart to go through so many polls. But we're going to do it. We started in A through D. We had to bring it to a B through F. And now we're ending it all with one more vote for 76. Despite calling the last one the final vote, we do need one more vote between C tier and F tier. Where does 76 belong, people? Where does it belong? I'm very scared of the outcome of this. This could break a lot of hearts. This could crush a lot of dreams. Pig may have to go on a 7-day Discord hiatus. Who knows? Pig is calling out to all the people who actually played 76 to rise up and vote for C. And it looks like that call to action is working. We have a 60% split, 60% in C and 40% in F. I can't believe it. It's going up, 63% in C. Truly, we have an accurate vote here using science. People are thinking with their minds now, not their hearts, and they are putting the votes. It's just getting higher, 65% in C tier with 112 votes. I'm not going to read that, but I agree. It looks like C tier is running away with that. This is outrageous. It's unfair. What are you on about? Did you not see the deliberation? We broke it down. We gave it A through D. You voted. We got it through B through F. We voted again, and the C's have it in an overwhelming 2/3 majority. 66% of you say that Fallout 76 belongs in the C tier. And I have to say, guys, I am proud of this community. You guys are using your minds and your facts and your science to determine the correct placements of every Fallout game. I would have been lazy. I would have thrown it in D or F because I don't like it and I don't play it, but that's just not truly where it belongs. Fallout 76, as voted for by you guys, sits in the C tier. And it's probably true. It's probably an accurate placement. Realistically, it's probably a C tier game. It's pretty mid. It's not great. It's not Brotherhood of Steel. All right. I know a lot of you are upset. I know, but we have more work to be done. We have so much work to be done. People, let's take a look before we get into the final three, because we're going to start pulling out the heavy hitters. We're going to start breaking some hearts. We're going to start hurting some feelings. Here are our placements thus far. We have Brotherhood of Steel in F tier. Deservedly so. Tactics and Wasteland Warfare in the D tier, as voted for by the community using science and facts. We have Fallout Shelter in 76 in C tier. Personally, I would love to see Fallout Shelter get a bit higher, but this is as voted by the community. And quite frankly, it's just where it belongs. We then have Fallout, the original, in B tier, followed by Fallout 2 in A tier, a class favorite by you guys. And then, of course, as to be expected, what we knew going into this, we started this stream, we knew that sitting at the peak, the pinnacle of Fallout, is Fallout Pinball. It was the only option. The only option for Fallout Pinball. Now then, we need to pull out a very topical Fallout. Not quite as topical as 76, but one that at the time had a whole lot of controversy, a whole lot of split opinions. What are we thinking for Fallout 4, folks? Fallout 4. My God, the game that has built my fan base. All of you guys are here because you watch my Fallout 4 content, but as a Fallout fan, you know that this game at its core does have its problems. However, possibly one of the greatest mod-supported games you've ever seen. The modding community is insane. The amount of talent and work in those people that have made this game have such a long lifespan. So many incredible innovations. And you got to take this game as a whole. Everything that you get when you play Fallout 4. You get all the DLCs. You get the modding community. You get the mods. Where does it place? Obviously, its story, leaving a little bit to be desired. But think about it. You're not voting for his vanilla state. You get the mods. You get the quests. You get Project Mojave. You get the potential of the Capital Wasteland DLC mod, the Fallout London DLC mod, Fallout Miami. Think about it, people. Think about where you are putting your votes with that mod support. The same is true for the past games, though we don't see the mod support for these. They haven't applied quite yet in a vote like this, but Fallout 4, people, think about the mods. Think about the mods. I'm seeing a hugely split fan base here. I see A's, B's, C's, not a whole lot of D's, F, S, S++, S+++. With mods, it is A or S. Without, it is lower. I agree. Listen, people, I agree. Without mods, if you're looking at a vanilla experience, Fallout 4 leaves a lot to be desired, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about full DLC, full mod support. Think about what that does for you in the Fallout 4 engine. Come on, people. All right. We're looking at it all. We see lots of A's and S's. Now that we've talked about mods, I'm seeing mostly A's and S's. Now, I'm just going to throw my 2 cents in. Of course, none of this matters. None of what I say matters, because this is on you guys. This is on science. But if I had to say, I don't think this is an F tier game. Even in vanilla, I think it's a D tier game. I think it brought a lot of I don't know how to speak. I don't know how to speak. I just ruined my speech. I'm sorry. I think that without mods, this is a D tier game. It brought a lot of innovation to the franchise. I love the settlement system personally. I know not everybody does. But this game did do a lot. And the mods only made it better. I think without mods, it could end up in D. I think with mods and with all of the DLCs, I don't think it can be in D or F. I just don't, people. With mods. With mods. With my mods. With Pig's mods. Don't include Pig's mods, that'll sway your vote too much. But think about the good ones. Think about the good mods, people. I think the votes are still too split. Sadly, I think we need to put it in an A through D tier vote. I think we do. I can understand Fallout 4 not being an S tier game. I think A through D. I think there's no way it's an F. But I think it belongs somewhere in the middle there. We're going to start with an A through D tier vote. And of course, as always, if F voters want to vote, vote for D. And if S voters want to vote, vote for A. And if either one has an overwhelming majority, we will put it to a second vote. But for now, we're going to run it A through D. I'm putting the poll up now, guys. I'm putting it up. Fallout 4, with mods and DLC. What are we thinking, folks? A, B, C, or D? The vote is up. The vote is live. You get to tell me what you think about this game. We've had a lot of heated opinions in the chat already, but what do the people actually think? Whoa! Right off the bat, with an overwhelming 74%, we have an A vote. That may be potential for a second vote for S tier. That is absolutely insane, people. Absolutely insane. Let's see what the rest of the split looks like. Oh my god. We have 69% in A, 24% in B, and only 4% in C and 3% in D. It would appear that the Fs in chat were either trolling or have been swayed by the inclusion of DLC and mods. Wow. With 115 votes already, you guys are getting in quick. Make it 124 votes. We have 70% in A, 23% in B, and then 3% in both C and D. I was not expecting this. I truly was not. I, hands down, expected Fallout 4 to play somewhere between C and A. D without mods. But wow. With a 70% vote in A, you gotta assume that somewhere around half of those are voting for S. I think we do truly have to put it to a second vote. Now, for all fairness, we will do an S through C tier. We won't do just S and A. To avoid bias, we will open up another poll. S through C tier. Now, is Fallout 4 as good as Fallout Pinball? You do have to think about that when you make this vote, people. You do have to think about it. Think about the Fallout Pinball. Can anything dethrone Fallout Pinball? I'm just not sure. And I don't know if Fallout 4 is the game to do it. Here we go. The final vote. Fallout 4. What are we thinking, people? S, A, B, or C? The vote is up. The vote is up. Oh, man. It has been a crazy stream so far. The placements of these games have been incredible, insane. And so far, I think we have a pretty good, accurate representation of the Fallout franchise. So far, I'm not upset by any of these placements. I'm truly not. But I could be, as we move further into this list. So far, the S vote has it, guys. 43% in S, 40% in A, 14 in B, 4 in C. It is a close race, but the S is taking it. That's insane, guys. I never would have thought. Fallout 4 as an S tier game, keeping in mind that when you download this, you are going to get the DLCs and the mods. Even if you're not going to get DLCs, you're at least getting the mods because they are free. That is a pretty good offer. Modded Fallout is definitely one of my preferred gaming experiences, I do have to say. If you told me to go play vanilla Fallout, I'd put it somewhere in D, but man, with mods, 45%, with nearly every single viewer voting, 45% in S, 37% in A, and not even, no point in reading B and C, only 4% in C, 13% in B. I read it anyways. I lied. Wow. Just about everybody's voted. I don't think there's even a possibility of any votes swaying this any further. Guys. S tier. Wow. Now that we have multiple S tier votes, we need to talk about something because I wasn't sure it would happen. I wasn't sure we'd have multiple S tier votes. I didn't think you guys could come together like that. I figured we would be split across the board the whole way through this stream. But you like-minded individuals have come to a consensus that we have multiple S tier votes. When we get to the end of this, we're going to take all of the S tier votes and we're going to put it at a final vote where you will vote between the S tier placements to determine the best game. But we'll get to that when we get there because we still have more games to get through, folks. And these ones are big. This one is a fan favorite. It's a classic. It's one that many of you enjoy so very much, but its popularity has dwindled over time. What do we think, everybody, about Fallout 3? Fallout 3. What probably started the enjoyment of the Fallout franchise for many of you out there, depending on how old you are. Fallout 3 introduced so many people into the franchise. The first first-person RPG Fallout game. Moving away from the asymmetric top-down system, we've got a brand new take on Fallout, and it was incredible. It was revolutionary at the time. It was insane. It has so much nostalgia. Its story was okay, but the gameplay was also okay. Did it age well? No, not really. But at the time, oh man, at the time, it was great. Now, keep one thing in mind when you put your votes out there for Fallout 3, everybody. The same rules apply. All the DLCs. All of the mods. And I think that does a lot for Fallout 3. Maybe not as much with the mods, but definitely with the DLCs. Fallout 3 had some banger DLCs, people. We know it's true. We know it's true. Pig, why on earth are you inviting me to a call? We do this every stream. What are you gonna do, Pig? I don't want you to say the nut word. Pig. Pig, I need you to give me one good reason in the chat right now that I get to add you to this call. Matter of fact, don't even give me a reason. People, we need to put the vote on hold. I'm sorry. We need to put the vote on hold. We have to wait. We have to wait on Fallout 3 because we have a more important vote to get to. Do I allow Pig in the call? Yes or no? Do I allow Pig into the voice call and let him on the stream, on the video? Do I allow Pig in? The poll is up. The poll is up there. 69% right off the bat are saying yes. God, why do you do this to me? Why do you want to watch me suffer, people? What are we doing here? What are we doing? 70%. I'm very disappointed, but we use science, so I'll accept it. What do you want? I can't
I
hear you.
wanted before people
Oh,
voted just
hold
to
on.
say something. Oh, what? What's up?
My headphone was off. My headphones
Oh,
were off.
okay.
My
Yeah.
headphones were off. Yeah, they probably heard you, but I didn't hear you.
Oh,
What'd you
can you hear
say?
me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I just I wanted to say something just before anyone voted. I just wanted to put it out there that I think that Fallout 3 deserves S tier because it's fucking green, baby. Green. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. There you have it, folks. Fallout 3 is green. What does that add to your decision making? Let's get back to it. Let's get back to the game. Let's get back to the vote. Let's get back to the poll. Fallout 3. Now, I saw no Fs in chat when we talked about Fallout 3. So, let's do it. S through C. What are we thinking, people? Do we start in A through D or do we go straight to S through C? You tell me. Oh, people are saying they're swayed. People are saying they're swayed. Automatic S tier. Because it's green. Oh man. Oh man. I think we have to put it as an S through C vote. If you truly think that it belongs in D or F, then vote for C. And if C has an overwhelming majority, we will open up a second vote. But my guess is that it's going to place pretty high. This is Fallout 3 we're talking about. This is Fallout 3 we're talking about, people. This is a big one. This is one of the big ones. You know, I'm just going to throw my 2 cents in using Pig's reasoning. Fallout 3 is green. And it starts with F. So theoretically, using that logic and science, F tier isn't an incorrect placement. But we'll put it to a vote. We'll run it S through C. S through C for Fallout 3. Let's get the vote going. Let's get it. S through C. One of the classics. It's not even something to be thought about like Fallout 4. Where do we put this game? I know most of you probably grew up playing Fallout 3. Most of you probably got your start in Fallout 3. It may be janky, it may be old, it may have a story on the same level as Fallout 4. It's literally the same story, people. But I know it sits well in most of your hearts. Though the votes say otherwise. I'm seeing a huge amount of A votes, people. A votes. Wow. The S tier voters are outnumbered. A is not a bad placement, people. Fallout 3 is a good game. But is it S tier? So far, you people are saying no. The people have voted and they say no to S tier. They say yes to A tier. Right now, with 100 votes in, we are at 38 votes for A, 29 votes for S, and 25 for B, and a negligible 8 for C. The A's are taking it, but we do have more viewers watching who have yet to vote. So please, people, if you have an opinion on the subject, get in that chat. Throw a vote for where you think this thing goes. Where does this game belong? Where does it need to be? By the way, if you're watching the stream right now, all of you guys, there will be an edited version with higher quality video that goes up later. That will be highly edited, toned down from an hour-long stream into a nice, concise, probably 20-minute video with some funny ha-has, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Now then, only 10 votes shy of the full amount of viewers. We have nearly 40% of a vote for A tier. Incredible to think there were more people voting for Fallout Pinball than for Fallout 3. Wow. Well, I think we have it. Just only 6 viewers shy of a full vote. That is not enough to sway the percentage. 39% to A. And that is it. Wow, you guys have voted. And it goes into A tier. And I think that is a fair placement. I truly do. I think it is. When you look at the complete package, people, I think that it does belong in A tier. So far, I just can't complain. I cannot complain with these votes. The placements all seem quite accurate thus far. And the people are already saying it. It could have been S tier, but there's one thing holding it back, and that's the next game. The pinnacle. The classic. The big iron. Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas. Pig is calling me again. Pig is calling me again. What?
I just wanted to say, I really
my mouse is on the disconnect button.
Yeah? Okay, but also New Vegas. I just gotta say, New Vegas reignited my passion for all things literature. I was in a very bad time in my life, and I played New Vegas for the first time, and it was a fantastic, just presence that the whole game had in it, and it really helped me get through a lot of stuff. Like, like
Are you trying to win the emotional vote, Pig? We're using science.
Okay. Listen, I also have one other thing to say about New Vegas.
Oh, the mouse is ready.
It's fucking orange, baby! Let's fucking go!
Well, even without Pig's deliberation, I do see a lot of S's in chat. I see quadruple S's. I see octuple S's. Plus, 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 plus. You guys seem to be some pretty right-minded viewers. I only see S's. A couple of A's. Nothing below it. So we're going to start the vote off right, just like we did for Fallout 3. What are we thinking, people? Fallout New Vegas, where I got my Fallout start. It's my first Fallout game. The nostalgia is heavy, and that's why I will not be weighing in my opinion. It brought the Fallout 3 experience in an orange hue, with some gameplay improvements, some amazing improvements to the side quests, the amount of uniques, the amount of content, the incredible DLCs, the amazing map, the incredible improvement to how you can pursue the main quest, the amount of options, the freedom of play. New Vegas brings everything to the table. If I had my vote, we'd make a new category for it. But I don't. So let's vote, people. We're going to go S through D. If you truly think it belongs lower than C tier in the D or F, sorry, S through C. If you truly think it belongs lower, vote for C. But my guess is that that won't be the case. S through C, the vote is going live. This is the big one. This is the big one. This is the big one. Wow. Overwhelming. 72% S tier right off the bat. 21% in A, 2 in B, and only 5 in C. And you gotta assume that those C votes are split between C, D, and F. Wow, and it just keeps getting bigger. More votes come in, 74% S. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. Somebody voted orange and red. Yes. Yes. As a matter of fact, we may have to do something special for New Vegas in the final vote. I truly expected a possibility of a top 4 between New Vegas, Fallout 4, Fallout 3, and Fallout Pinball. But here we are. A top 3. The final vote of 74% to the S tier. That is the placement for Fallout New Vegas. Uh, do, do, do. Thank you, Pig, for that. I was working on the same thing. All right. That's the final placement for New Vegas. Now, theoretically, this is our completed list, but we're not done. We're not done. We have to select a best game. That was the point of the stream. That's the point of the video. We have to pick one. Okay? We have Fallout Pinball, Fallout 4, and Fallout New Vegas, complete with all of the mods and all of the DLCs sitting at the top of our list, but we need to select one game to reign supreme, one game to top them all. We're going to have to put it to a final vote. Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, and Fallout Pinball. The final vote. You select your favorite of these three options. We're going to take all of these. We've already voted. We've used science to determine that these are the three best Fallout games. Now is when we can let our opinions out. Now is when we use our hearts to vote for our favorite. Wow. Well, that's interesting. If you'll excuse me for one moment as you guys decide, it would appear that my stream is a bit laggy and I need to refresh it in order to see what you guys are saying. So give me just one moment as I do just that. There we go. And now I can see your chats coming in. Very, very cool. It is time to create the poll. Oh man, everybody, we want the best Fallout game. Using all of our votes that have come to this point, the conclusion to the video, the stream. Although we're not done, we're going to do some stuff after this if you want to stick around. But the conclusion. Fallout New Vegas. Fallout 4. Or Fallout Pinball. What's it gonna be? The vote is up. The vote is up. While your comments aren't coming in for me, the stream, the poll is. Wow, the votes are already saying some pretty hefty stuff here. The memes are aside, despite everybody saying Fallout Pinball for the memes, for the funny, for the ha-has. The truth is clear. We can see it. That 47 now percent of you are voting for Fallout New Vegas. 30% are voting for Fallout 4, and 23% are voting for Fallout Pinball. Wow. Wow. That's what I say to that. Now then, I'm going to give it just a little bit more time for the final votes to come in. Do have a handful of people who have yet to vote. So they could potentially sway the outcome, though I doubt it. It does look like Fallout New Vegas is going to run away with this. We run away with this vote with 50% of the votes. This is truly incredible. Truly, truly incredible. Wow. Looking at what are probably going to be the final numbers here as the last bit of votes come in, we have 50% for New Vegas, 30% for Fallout 4, and 21% for Fallout Pinball. Somehow we got an extra percentage. It went away. Now, 50% New Vegas, 30% 4, and 20% Pinball. Incredible. And that's going to be it. That is going to be it right there in this order that I have laid out right in front of you. We have Fallout New Vegas at top, Fallout 4 in spot number 2, and Fallout Pinball in spot number 3 as the third best game. followed by Fallout 3 and Fallout 2. And I'm just going to be real here. Like let's just be real here. Then Fallout 1, Shelter and 76 in the C tier, Tactics and Wasteland Warfare in the D, and of course, Brother to Steel in the F. And I gotta say, this looks pretty close to how I would make a list. You guys have done very well. You voted with science. You're doing a good job. You guys are doing a good job out here. Certified scientists, each and every one of you. If I could, I would give you all a bachelor's degree in like biology or something. Incredible. Absolutely, truly incredible. Wow. Fallout New Vegas in the S tier. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk? I mean, I did. I kind of figured, but yeah. That's what I like to see. Wow. I hope you guys are happy with the results. It is, this is what you voted. Somebody said make a runoff between Fallout 4 and Pinball. Nah. This is the vote. We saw it. It was clear. New Vegas at the top, 4 at the second slut. Anyways, New Vegas wins. Good job, guys. Now then, while that part of the stream is over, don't want to end the stream just yet. I do want to do a little bit more. Want to hang out. Want to chit chat with you guys. It's always a good, fun part of my day. Trying to determine if I want to work on my mod, though at the moment, I don't think that I do. I'm not feeling that kind of a motivation. I should probably go get some lunch soon. It is already 1:30. It's pretty crazy. Like I said, in case you're just now joining, this will be turned into a highly edited video format later. And it'll be up for everybody to see. So thanks for participating. Those of you who were commenting, cool. You get to be in the video potentially, depending on which parts I edit in. But yeah, I'm over here looking for comments and I'm on the wrong tab. Somebody said Tactics was more fun than Shelter. Apparently not. Look at the votes. We use science here. No facts. No opinions. Only science in this stream. All right. Wow. Well then, I think I'm going to open that up for Pig to come in and say his final words on his thoughts on how this went. Because I'm sure he has something to say. I'm sure he would like to contribute. Maybe we could talk about the placement, where everything ended up in this list. I think, like I said, I'm pretty happy with most of the results here. But Pig, you wanna hop on in here? You wanna talk about it? But there was one more thing I wanted to do, or before we do that, we gotta make a quick little adjustment here. I did the wrong button. We gotta turn the S into orange. We gotta turn the A into green. And we'll turn F into red. The rest of these don't matter. Orange for New Vegas, green for Fallout 3, and F tier red garbage for Brotherhood of Steel. Pig, what do you have to say to that, Pig?
Okay. I don't hate this list. I think you guys, democracy, it has worked for once.
I heavily agree. I think that we use science. I think we left out the opinions. I think this list is a truly...
Well, we asked the people, and the people told us what they thought, and, it's the people.
What
the people want, we give them.
You've heard the debate for decades now. Which game is the best? And I think we've proven it here.
Yeah, definitively, New Vegas.
It can no longer be argued. If anybody tries to ever tell you that their favorite Fallout game is better, just put them towards this list. Put them towards this video right here.
You did forget one game.
What game is that, Pig?
Fallout Monopoly.
I hate Monopoly, Pig.
Oh.
I did actually forget a game, though. You know what's really funny about that? I did actually forget a game.
What game did you forget?
1 second. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know that I'll be able to. I found it. Guys, we have one more vote to do, guys. One more vote, people. Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition 2 being sold next year for Samsung Fridge.
True.
True. It's coming out next year. It's going to include all the DLCs. You'll be able to fish. You'll be able to fish in this one, guys.
Actually, I have some insider info.
Insider info from Pig. He is a Bethesda dev. Please.
They're adding more cats.
More cats in this version. More types of cats. Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition, guys. Where does this one belong on the list? Fishing. You can raise your own Brahmin like a Tamagotchi pet. You got to take care of them. They'll die if you don't check on them every 2 hours in game. Okay? They're adding in pretty much all of the mods that all of these creators have worked so hard on for free. Bethesda is taking them. Big, chill out. We're adding all of these. We're adding all of these in as a one singular package. So one more vote, guys. We don't even have to pull up a vote. You just tell me. Yeah, just tell me. It will be actually $139 USD.
Oh. Does it come with
It comes with full VR support.
Oh.
A personal massager.
Wow.
Matter of fact, it even has Pig, tell them about the secret feature that it even has.
Oh yeah, it comes with a canvas bag.
It comes with a It comes with a canvas bag. And it looks like everybody's agreeing. A solid S tier for Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
We all wanted it. I know everybody was asking for it, and you know what? They delivered.
Yeah, I'm very proud of this community. I'm very proud of Todd Howard.
Yeah, it seems that they didn't like this joke. We lost a lot of viewers for that.
Yeah.
All right. That is it, guys. Thank everybody for joining me. Thank you, Pig, for making the stream funnier.
Yeah.
This was a good one. This is a funny one. We're gonna make this a good little funny video, and
oh boy.
I'll publish this list in the Discord if you're part of the Discord, and we can argue about it in there further. But yeah.
And I'll ban you if you say that 76 is bad.
Well, it is. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. We're gonna go ahead and call it there. That was a good old time. Everybody's leaving. Goodbye, guys, and I'll see y'all later.
Bye.